The morning of my sister's wedding, Mom's voice cut through the phone. "Don't ruin this day. I'm Bridget Coleman, 30 years old, the family's so-called failure." Slipping into an ugly olive green bridesmaid dress, I braced for the pitying looks waiting at the Westin Hotel in Denver. My family thinks I'm stuck in some greasy kitchen scraping by. They have no idea I built Coleman's Table, a name that's about to shake things up. At the altar, my sister pointed at me, smirking. "That's my little sister, our family's biggest letdown." The room laughed. My cheeks burned. But then a bridesmaid's question stopped everyone cold, turning their laughter into silence. Want to know what flipped the day upside down? Stick around for the truth they never saw coming. Ever been judged by your own family? Hit subscribe and share your story in the comments. Let's see who else proved them wrong. The night before the wedding, I stepped into the rooftop lounge of the Westin Hotel. The chatter of guests filled the air, clinking glasses, polite laughter, and the familiar weight of judgment pressing down. Aunt Pamela spotted me first. "Bridget still working in that kitchen?" she asked, smiling like it hurt. "It's just temporary, right?" Her words stung, but I forced a nod. I wasn't ready to tell her about Coleman's Table. Not yet. Then Mom joined us, her eyes scanning my plain black dress. "You could have worn something nicer," she sighed. "Your sister's done so well marrying a lawyer." That comparison wasn't new, but it still cut deep. They didn't know I'd started in a diner kitchen, chopping onions, scrubbing pans, learning every detail of the restaurant business. That's how Coleman's Table was born, not from privilege, but from sweat, from late nights and calloused hands. By 28, I'd opened my first location. Now, at 30, I was finalizing a $10 million expansion deal. But my family, they never asked. Across the room, Virginia Walsh, the groom's mother, had approached. "So, Bridget, you're in catering?" she asked sweetly, as if that made it better. Her son, Corey, chuckled. "A kitchen job? That's quaint." I stayed silent. They didn't know I could buy and sell Corey's startup twice over. Later, I overheard Mom whispering to Aunt Pamela, "It's embarrassing. Kristen's got her life together, and Bridget's still struggling." Struggling? I'd built something from nothing. I'd worked 16-hour shifts. I'd built a brand that Denver couldn't stop talking about. But to them, I was just the kitchen girl. By the next morning, I was dreading the day. In the bridal suite, surrounded by laughter and hairspray, one bridesmaid leaned toward me. "So, Bridget, you're still working in a kitchen?" Her tone was soft, but her pity wasn't. I forced a nod. Another added, "That must be tough." Then Kristen, my sister, I'd swept in. "Ah, there's our family's biggest letdown," she said loudly, smirking. The room burst into laughter. My face burned, but I said nothing. It was her day, not mine. Still, the sting was sharp. They never asked what I'd done, never visited my restaurants, never cared to know that the failure was signing a multi-million-dollar deal. At the ceremony, I stood quietly as whispers floated behind me. "That's Bridget, the one who never made it. Still in that dead-end job." Kristen's thank you speech made it worse. She praised everyone, Mom, Dad, her new in-laws, but skipped my name entirely. The omission was deliberate, and it hurt more than words ever could. Dad's eyes met mine, cold, disappointed, familiar. I wanted to tell him about Coleman's Table, but this wasn't the place. During the photos, the photographer pointed at me. "You in the back. Let the others stand out." It wasn't just a picture. It was symbolic. Always pushed aside, always less than. I smiled for the camera anyway, my jaw tight, my heart heavier than ever. By the reception, I sat alone, nursing a glass of wine. Then I heard Mom's voice behind me. "Bridget's not exactly godmother material. Working in a kitchen hardly screams responsibility," Virginia agreed. Corey smirked. And I broke. I stood to leave, but before I could, a hand caught my arm. It was Tara Gibson, one of Kristen's friends. Her eyes wide, her phone in her hand. "Bridget, is this you?" she asked, showing me a glowing article about Coleman's Table, my restaurant chain. My heart stopped. Before I could respond, Tara turned to the crowd. "Everyone, this is Bridget Coleman, the woman behind Coleman's Table, Denver's hottest restaurant brand." The room froze. Gasps, stares, silence. Mom's fork clattered onto her plate. Virginia's pearls seemed to lose their shine. Corey's jaw dropped for the first time all day. Every eye was on me. "Yes," I said, stepping forward. "It's true. I built Coleman's table, from nothing, from diners, from sweat, from failure. I started with a single kitchen and turned it into something real, something mine." Aunt Pamela looked sick. Dad looked stunned. The guests leaned in, their pity replaced by awe. Then Kristen laughed weakly. "Oh, come on. Bridget just works in a kitchen. She's not some big shot owner." Tara lifted her phone again. "This says otherwise." She read aloud the latest award announcement. My award. The whispers grew. And Kristen's smile finally broke. "You never asked what I do," I said quietly. "None of you did. You assumed I was a failure. But I built something real, and I don't need your approval anymore." Mom looked down. Dad said nothing. Corey turned away. Then the doors opened. In walked Derek Sullivan, my business partner, holding a folder. "Bridget," he said, his voice echoing across the ballroom, "we need to finalize the $10 million expansion deal tonight." Gasps again. Cameras flashed. It was real, undeniable. I turned to my family. "You all told me not to ruin this day," I said. "But you ruined years of mine with your judgment." Kristen whispered my name, her eyes wet. But I shook my head. "It's over." I walked out with Derek. Outside, a sleek black sedan waited. Not my old Honda, but a new chapter. As we pulled away, I glanced back. Kristen stood at the doors, tears streaming, her wedding glow fading. Weeks later, their perfect image cracked. Kristen's restaurant plans fell apart without my support. Mom's charity lost donors. Dad's business contacts grew cold. The same people who laughed at me whispered behind their backs instead. Meanwhile, Coleman's table thrived. The $10 million deal sealed, the brand expanding nationwide. And me? I finally stopped trying to earn love from people who couldn't see my worth. Your value isn't defined by those who refuse to see it. Build your own table, and let the right ones sit at it. Thanks for listening till the end. Have you ever had to cut ties to protect your peace? Share your story in the comments. I read every one.